Hello there guys, hope you're doing well, and I'm back again. I'm going to continue to make the case for why I think Bitcoin goes through a kind of hyper Bitcoinization or escape velocity event in the very near future. I really do think it smells a whole lot like 1921 in Germany, and I really do think that we're seeing a lot of warning signs that showing us that maybe we're really close to hyperinflation, and a lot of people just aren't paying enough attention to that possibility. Okay, a lot of people still think that these halving cycles are going to go on and on for another 4 or 5 years, and they're ignoring the big picture. Okay, they're all zoomed in and they're not looking at the big picture of what's going on globally. So I'm going to try and illustrate a painting for you guys today that shows that maybe things are escalating really quickly around the world, not just in Bitcoin land, but things are escalating globally in all sorts of totalitarian overreach, and even in the macroeconomic backdrop, which is what we focused on in part 1 of this little video series. We were looking at inflation, how hyperinflation occurs. We were looking at whether or not inflation is in fact transitory, as the Fed wants you to believe. Okay, so that was this video over here. We're looking at whether transitory inflation is morphing into hyperinflation. But in this little video in part 2, I want to more focus on something I talked about last year, and that's how central bank digital currencies are going to try and be implemented for this next kind of financial system reset, because that is the flavor, it is the word of the month, the word of the year for all of these elites around the world. It is very obvious, if you're paying attention, that they plan on implementing a reset. So we're going to be looking at all of the coincidences amongst the ranks of the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, and all of the narratives that they're pushing out. Because I filmed this one a few weeks ago and I didn't really know how to tie it all together in a positive spin. Okay, it gets pretty draconian, it's pretty Orwellian, it really does feel like a transcript straight out of the 1984 book, and we're going to be joining lots of dots today, ladies and gentlemen, so put your tinfoil hats on and come and have some fun. But so I didn't know how to put it in a positive spin, and I listened to this interview that Laser Hodl done with Marty Bent over at Tales from the Crypt just the other day. Phenomenal podcast, 2 hours long. Go and check it out. Talked about all things monetary reset, okay, and it kind of gave myself a lot of clarity in how I should be illustrating or conveying the whole talking points of this monetary reset, and trying to tie in all of these very complicated things that seem to be occurring globally, and just kind of helping paint that picture for new people, because I show a lot of people all of these coincidences I'm about to show you guys, and their first initial reaction is, holy shit, that's scary. First reaction is to freak out. But when you have a mental framework kind of painted for yourself, and you understand that all of these things are occurring because we're going through a monetary reset, the greatest and what I think has the potential to be the most transformative monetary reset in human history, you understand why all of these distractions and smoke screens are being thrown out there at the people from all sorts of directions. Okay, it's all divide and conquer. Okay, it's compulsory inoculations, compulsory mask mandates, compulsory lockdowns. You've got the racial war, the black versus white, the Black Lives Matter. You've got the George Floyd event. You've got the Capitol Hill riot. You've got the ransomware attacks coming in from left, right, and center. You've got UFO documents being declassified from the United States, and that's all events that have occurred in 1 year. Okay, and meanwhile, in the background, the Federal Reserve is printing trillions and trillions of dollars globally, and I think they're engaged in what I'm calling is the greatest rug pull of all time. Okay, this is a financial system reset, and you're getting thrown all of these smoke screens and distractions to take your attention away from this. Okay, the world's billionaires got $3.9 trillion richer during the pandemic, and the workers lost $3.7 trillion in wealth during the pandemic. Okay, this is a wealth redistribution like we've never seen before in human history, and I just think that when we join all these dots together, and you get people to stand back and look at the big picture, so they're not fixated on all of those distractions. They understand why this is happening. They understand who is perpetrating and pulling the strings behind all of these events. and you start to get an understanding of why they're doing it, and then you can get yourself a very quick and easy and simple plan to follow for the 2020s. Okay, I hodl Bitcoin, and anything that's compulsory, I stay away from. It's as simple as that. So in today, we're going to be joining all those dots, and I hope that by showing you guys the bigger picture, gives you guys some mental clarity as to kind of who's pulling all the strings and why all the strings are being pulled. I'm about to pull a head gasket here. I'm pretty fired up. So let's move on into the first couple of clips we're going to be having a look at. But then let's also look at the elites, or the people in control of the monetary system, and see what they're doing with their own money and see what they're talking about, okay? The World Economic Forum, after the coronavirus recession, they came out with a whole new book, okay? It's called The Great Reset, okay? This is their website. Go and check it out. People think you're a tinfoil hat conspiracy nut job. I am, okay? I've got my tinfoil hat here, and I'll pop it on from time to time when I see coincidences everywhere. But this is no exaggeration. Like, this is on their website called The Great Reset, and they're saying that COVID has provided the world the perfect opportunity to reset the financial system, and how we see economics and capitalism. So go check that out. Something else I wanted to show you guys was the International Monetary Fund, also coming out in 2020, calling for a Bretton Woods 2.0 moment, okay? That was the largest financial reset that we've had in the past century, in 1944, when all the countries around the world come together and said, hey, you know what? Let's make the US dollar the global reserve currency. The US, you need to peg your currency, the US dollar, to gold. Okay, I think it was at $33 or $45 a pop, $45 an ounce. If my memory serves me correctly, and all the other currencies around the world, such as your Canadian dollar or Australian peso, your Brazilian real, they'll peg all them to the US dollar. So it's kind of like a de facto gold standard, but it wasn't really. But there was a big historic kind of reset of the financial system. And in 2020, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, came out and said, you know what, maybe we're due for another one of these resets. So yeah, so check that out. So these are other things that I look at and go, okay, these are interesting coincidences. All these people and the elites are talking about resets and resetting the financial system. We'll take a quick listen to the head of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab himself, Klaus Anal Schwab, who wrote the book The Great Reset. And we'll listen to a couple of other interesting figureheads and see what they've got to say. I'll just quickly play this.
Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight severe virus, but to shape the system.
We have a unique but rapidly shrinking window of opportunity to learn lessons.
Window of opportunity. Wow, that's draconian doublespeak.
Reset ourselves on a more sustainable path. It is an opportunity we have never had before and may never have again. So we must use all the levers we have at our disposal, knowing that each and every one of us has a vital role to play.
The Great Reset is a welcome recognition that this human tragedy must be a wake-up call. It is imperative that we reimagine, rebuild, redesign, reinvigorate, and rebalance our world. Rebalancing investment, harnessing science and technology, and then
there you have it, guys. I can show you a few more videos. I might edit them in now. But there you have it, guys. That's what the elites and the central bankers and the governments who are in control of the financial system are saying. Some of the other things that they're saying as well, okay? They seem pretty sure that we need to reset the financial system. And you heard from the big man himself, Augustus Carstens from the Bank of International Settlements. They want to transition you onto a central bank digital currency system where they are able to monitor and censor your every single transaction, okay? There will be no more cash, okay? And just while I'm thinking of it on the top of my head, the IMF also came out last year and they suggested that we should all have a social credit score based on our internet history. Now, I'm going to put the tinfoil hat back on, guys, because I tell you what, why is the International Monetary Fund talking about your internet history being linked to a social credit score? I thought social credit scores were just in China, where they've got very low cash rates. And if you make a transaction that the CCP doesn't agree with, they will cut off your entire bank account, they'll freeze it, and the bank accounts of your entire family, okay? If you make a bad decision, or if you purchase an American flag or something that gives you a bad social credit score, that's the Orwellian digital panopticon that they want to push you into. And there is literally only one solution and one exit valve out of that totalitarian control system, okay? And that is Bitcoin, okay? We'll play a quick clip from the head of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, and she's actually talking about Bitcoin here, saying it's used for all these illicit purposes, which is BS, okay? The figures off the top of my head is the amount of illicit transactions or money that's used as money laundering in Bitcoin is actually 0.34%. I'll put up the article, I'll kind of edit it in. And the percentage of illicit transactions used by the US dollar is somewhere between 5 and 10%. Meanwhile, these criminals are saying, oh, we need to ban Bitcoin because criminals use it. No, motherfucker. Bitcoin's an open ledger. Criminals aren't going to use Bitcoin for their transaction when you can track it on the ledger. Okay, they use US dollars. But clowns like this one, Christine Lagarde, I'm just going to play a quick little clip so you kind of get what I'm talking about here.
I think that there are criminal investigations that have taken place that I'm sure will continue to take place that demonstrate it very clearly. And there has to be regulations, and this has to be applied and agreed upon. It's a matter that needs to be agreed at a global level, because if there is an escape, that escape will be used. So I think it needs to be if anything, it shows that global cooperation, multilateral action.
There you go, guys. Straight from the horse's mouth. If there is an escape, the escape will be used, okay? This is an interview she was doing talking about Bitcoin and how the G7 or the G20 countries need to come together and ban Bitcoin, okay? She knows it's the escape to the current system that's about to blow up, okay? I hope I've highlighted that somewhat thoroughly, showing you talks about the IMF, the World Economic Forum. They're all talking about resets. And then you've also got this kind of predictive programming by Joe Biden. Now that even the manipulated CPI inflation index is giving us 6% inflation prints month over month in the United States, okay? That means your money is losing 5% of its value. It's purchasing 5% less than it was last year. Now, he's trying to tell you that him printing more money and increasing the money supply more is going to actually lower inflation. Oh, it's unbelievable. They're pissing in your face and telling you it's raining. But here's a quick clip from Joe before I blow a head gasket myself. I'm getting a little bit fired up.
Said if we pass the other two things I'm trying to get done, we will in fact reduce inflation. Reduce inflation. Reduce inflation. Because we're going to be providing good opportunities and jobs for people.
Watch the predictive programming there, ladies and gentlemen. Reduce inflation. Reduce inflation. Nearly as if he wants to drill it into your brain, okay? What's the old saying? You can't tell somebody what to think, but you can sure tell them what to think about, okay? It's all predictive programming. All these global elites are talking about great resets and, oh, we have the perfect opportunity. We have a window of opportunity to reset the financial system. And that is because they understand, okay? They understand that the current financial system is unsustainable and it's about to blow up, just like the other 150 fiat currencies have blown up in human history, okay? It's 1921 and it's about to get messy. And that also explains, if I were to chuck the tinfoil hat back on, it also explains why you're seeing lots of governmental overreach and control around the world. I won't go into details about this one because I'll no doubt get this video deleted. But here's a little tweet that Stefan shared, okay? Despite a 75% vaccination rate, Iceland's top epidemiologist agrees that restrictions may be required for the next 5, 10 or 15 years, okay? How quickly did 14 days to flatten the curve turn into 15 days to flatten the curve like Stefan said, okay? Now, I tend to think that all of this overreaching government control for something that in 2020, let's just remember, less people died in 2020 than 2019, 2018, 2017. Influenza rates down 99% in every single country around the world. Pneumonia also seemed to disappear in 2020. I won't get too technical because I'm not a qualified doctor, but I just tend to think it's pretty obvious that the reaching for control by governments and central banks around the world, restricting people's movements, is because maybe they understand that they're about to lose the monopoly on money, okay, for 10,000 years. What's the old saying? If you control the money, you control the people. And for 10,000 years, these criminals have been able to monopolize money, increase its money supply, and extract wealth from the productive economy and the working class people like you and I, okay? The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, because the rich are able to follow a different set of rules to everybody else. And that is why Bitcoin is such a beautiful thing, okay? First money in human history that cannot be monopolized, cannot be changed, is truly decentralized, and where everybody follows the same rules as everybody else, and there is no rulers. Yes, this video is getting a little bit long in the tooth, guys, so we'll probably leave this one here. But there's plenty more rabbit holes we didn't even get to explore, okay? There's plenty more coincidences that I wouldn't mind checking out and showing you guys. Remember, the repo market was blowing up in late 2019, and nobody talks about that, okay? This was 3 months before there were any lockdowns or health variants or anything, okay? The Fed was printing hundreds of billions of dollars, but nobody mentions it. The only thing you hear in the mainstream news is, no, the Fed had to print this $3 trillion here because of the lockdowns. The economy was ruined. They had to print it. But what you don't get fed in the media is this small little bump here, okay? Late 2019, the Fed was printing hundreds of billions of dollars. The financial system was broken. For the first time in 10 years, the repo market was blowing up. Overnight lending rates were above 10%. And they want you to expect that the economy was all healthy before the lockdowns. They tell you there was nothing wrong with the plumbing, with the financial system before the lockdowns. They tell you that all the money printing was directly a consequence and a result of the lockdowns and the health scenarios, okay? I don't know, guys. The facts tell you something different. The yield curve inverted in 2019, which has predicted every single recession over 9 out of 10 of the last recessions out of the last century. So all the red flags were telling you that a recession is due and is very close to being around the corner. Jerome Powell was getting on national news every single night, and he was saying, look, these hundreds of billions of dollars that we're printing right now and funneling it into the repurchase agreement markets, overnight lending facility, there's nothing wrong here. Don't look here. This is not QE. Then lockdowns, and then, yep, you know the spill. Oh, we had to print the money because of the lockdowns. Yeah, I don't know, guys. That's another rabbit hole we can check out if you guys want me to check it out. And remember, all of that was happening in September of 2019. In October of 2019, the World Economic Forum, funded by yours truly, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, ran a tabletop scenario casting video series forecasting what would happen to the world if there were a coronavirus global outbreak. What would happen to the economy? Would we have to lock down the world? Okay, how would the media have to be persuaded and present the narrative? Because there'd be people challenging the narrative. Okay, go and check it out. Event 201. The videos are still all online. It absolutely amazes me that they leave their phenomenal prediction up online. But that's another rabbit hole we can check out in another video. Now again, not showing you any of these coincidences to scare you, just trying to help you see the world in a lot clearer kind of lens. Because when you do see the world in a clearer lens, makes your game plan very simple for the 2020s, okay? The factors of transitory inflation combined with this kind of push to central bank digital currency and just totalitarian control, I think it's going to push a lot of people into Bitcoin a lot sooner than they would have found it otherwise. And then you've also got the factor of the big money here in Bitcoin. Okay, you've got nation states, corporations, pension funds, institutions, all the biggest money managers around the world, all scrambling to accumulate the only Bitcoin available, which is 4.5 million coins sitting on exchanges. All those factors combined kind of lends me to think that maybe we go through an escape velocity type event a lot sooner than a lot of people give that hypothesis credit for. Okay, I really do think we hit $10 million a coin before 2030, and I think that kind of jaw-dropping, face-melting rally up to at least $1 million or 10 million a coin comes before 2025 because of all those factors combined. So get your house in order. That's why I'm doing these videos, trying to kick people into gear. If you've enjoyed this one, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Pushes us up in the scammy YouTube algorithms. I think I don't get anything from it. I just more people view it, so it helps more people. So that is what we're about here on this YouTube channel. So have a good one. See you in the next video, guys.